back to First Things First. NBA champ Dante Jones is here.
Debut First Things First appearance. Sorry to interrupt you, Jenna, but excited to have you on.
Now, this is one of the few guys in the history of the NBA, Nick. I'm telling you, just on, I don't know what his resume is and everything, wink, wink, but I would give him a tryout in the NFL. I believe he got that in here, what it takes. And it's only a few of them.
Chris thinks NBA players are soft.
I know so. Don't think.
Okay.
I know so.
You're saying he's in the special category of tough.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I would have rather take the floor and the weather, the elements of the problem in football. Like, I didn't want to be outside. I didn't want to get hit in the snow and the rain. I didn't like getting hit in puddles. I didn't like all that. So you guys are way tougher.
He's a basketball player.
Well, while we're all making first impressions of Dante, he smells tremendous. I know you can't appreciate that at home. Man, you smell good.
Do you see that white mint? Let's talk about
I gotta start the show now. Another game, another loss for the Lakers last night, falling to the Raptors. That is 6 losses in 7 games for them. I don't do math, but that doesn't sound very good. A tough night and a tough season for LA. But apparently we didn't realize how bad the situation had gotten. According to reports, Jeanie was so frustrated with LeBron's representation and the way they handled the failed Anthony Davis deal, she actually considered trading him. Dante, any chance the Lakers regret signing LeBron James?
Absolutely not. I think that report was bogus in the respect, because you get an executive to say, well, I heard this, but the executive's role is to build their own personal team and to create dissension amongst other teams so that I can do a better job at my job. So do I take that? No, if it doesn't come from Jeanie herself that I contemplated it, I don't take anything seriously at all. You have the best player in the game. He may not be playing that way right now, and they may not be winning right now, but he's the best player in the game, pound for pound. And trading him would be absolutely insane. Like, she should have been fired if she did.
Well, she can't be fired. She owns the team now. But she did. But no, she had the guts to fire her brother. So I believe the report's false too.
Right. I think I give her way more credit than that.
Okay. Right.
To give up on an organization because you had one down year. No, you look yourself in the mirror. You try and find a better way to construct your roster. You look at what you didn't do right this year, and you try to get the guy more help. Period. Point blank. You don't just give up and trade him after 4 months. He's a talent that deserves way more time to figure this out.
And listen, none of this makes sense as far as the Lakers actually considering trading LeBron. What it would do for their brand, what it would do, to be honest with you, to the NBA, of the standard bearer of the league being sent somewhere against his wishes when he went to the organization and he was very open.
To retire.
Waived
his no trade. Gave that up.
Yeah, and it gave them the long-term commitment. None of this makes sense. And standings-wise, it didn't make sense. They were in the heart of a playoff battle up to the trade deadline. So, and if you read Rick Bucher's report, and Rick Bucher's got a stone to grind with LeBron, or an axe to grind, pardon me. But regardless, it was exactly what Dante said, that sources say Jeanie contemplated. There's only one source that can tell you if someone was contemplating something, and that is the Jeanie herself. And I don't think she told him this. Now, as far as, has this season gone the way they wanted? Of course not. Has it been a wild disappointment? Of course. Does some of that have to fall on the best player on the team? Absolutely. But we talked sliding doors the other day, Jenna, just quickly. So many things here that if one of them doesn't happen, we're talking about the Lakers, it's going to be disappointing. They're going to get bounced in the first round by the Warriors, as opposed to they're going to miss the playoffs and wonder if they should have even gotten LeBron.
This season just seems like such a disappointment from the time he got here, but it all started when he got injured, because everything was trending, like Nick said, in the right direction.
Absolutely.
When you look at it from up here and not from down here, is there something positive you can take from this team?
I think you can look at the roster construction and know what he exactly needs. When you get into the business of LeBron James, it's a different type of athlete, different type of star. His leadership style is different, and what he brings to the table is different. So you're going to have to take some time to construct it, and we have to really look at it. It's the first time that Magic Johnson is running an organization, and Rob Pelinka is running an organization. And it's the first time that Jeanie has been at the head to make these type of decisions, to make pivotal decisions to win a championship. But even if we unpack it, let's look at it. If you traded LeBron James, look at the stigma on your organization going into free agency. The Clippers have to handle themselves delicately right now because of what they did to Blake. They sold Blake on a dream. They told him his jersey was going to be hung in the rafters. He was going to be there for the tenure of his career. And then they traded him because it was best for the organization. So if we're having discussions coming into free agency, and you got guys coming in to say, oh, I'm thinking about being a Laker, they're going to say, well, would you do to me what you did to LeBron James? Because they wouldn't have a no-trade clause because they'd be coming from different teams.
And you have less of a resume and less respect throughout the league than LeBron has.
Exactly.
Well, the other element when you said team building, just is it fair to say that the Lakers tried to get too many guys to play the role you played with the Cavs and LeBron? Tough guy, a guy you can be put into a big moment. And I understand that you had other talents to your game, but when you guys won the championship, you were there for who you were on and off the court. You were there as a leader, and you were there as a tough guy.
Right. I think when you construct a team around him, you have to have some specialists. You have to know what you're going to expect on these guys on a nightly basis. And when you have youth, those guys are still just trying to develop their identity in basketball, what they're going to be counted on for. So you have a bunch of guys trying to fit the same role. You have 4 or 5 guys who are trying to bring energy or trying to score and trying to distribute and trying to be what he wants them to be. But when you go into playing with LeBron, you got to know what you bring nightly. And he has to know what you bring nightly. If they don't, it's confusion. It's some sort of basketball chaos, but then when you don't have veterans at the end of your bench, your team is not held accountable. He can't hold everybody accountable. He needs players to hold themselves accountable and hold the team accountable, and ultimately sometimes talk to him and look him in the face and say, you know what, you're not bringing it tonight. You need to give more. He needs to be motivated sometimes, and youth can't do that for him because they don't have the resume or don't know how to.
You know LeBron, you've played with LeBron. How hard is this for him to be in a difficult situation, uncomfortable situation, and an unfamiliar situation? The playoffs are going to start in a couple weeks, and his team's not going to be there.
One thing I respect about LeBron is he always tries to challenge himself, and I think this was an opportunity for him to challenge himself and get more out of himself, and to put himself in some uncomfortable situation that helps him grow as a basketball player and be better and look at it a different light. He's in a position right now where he has to change and evolve, and he looks at it with optimism. He's looking at it with a different appeal of basketball right now, that he can get better and he can bring this team into a different level. So him challenging himself was awesome. I think as people, we need to grow on a continual basis, and I'm proud of him.
LeBron needs an influx of another superstar. I remember playing those 4 years with Randy Moss. They were different because I was already an accomplished player. But there was one time in the game, man, the ball went off my fingertips. And Randy was watching on the Jumbotron. He came back to the huddle and said, "You got to catch that, dog."
Right.
And I wanted to get mad. And I was like,
so we need that sometimes as basketball
man,
players.
he's right. And you're right about the point as far as having someone, because they have such respect because he's such a good athlete. And Randy was the only one who could really tell me that. So not having people there who could look at LeBron eye to eye and be able to say things like that, how much that would help him as far as moving forward.
So speaking of that potential trade for Anthony Davis that we were mentioning, the one that didn't happen, the one that was part of the Lakers' demise this season, the one that now may never happen. According to reports, Dante, there is no chance New Orleans deals AD to LA. So now let's dive into that a little more. Is it seemingly less likely a star pairs with LeBron next season, given everything that's happened, and now given the possibility of Anthony Davis not signing with the Lakers?
By no means. I think you have 5 guys out there that can bring a difference to that organization and give them an opportunity to hunt for a championship. The 4Ks, I think those guys can. Kyrie number 1, KD number 2, Kawhi number 3, and then I say Kemba Walker, because Kemba Walker plays in a smaller market and doesn't get as much attention as he deserves. But what he can do is make plays with the ball, and he can shoot the ball at a great capacity off the ball. And I think he has the star power to play next to LeBron, and the humility and he wants to be looked in that light as a basketball player and as an all-star talent that we have in the league right now.
So you mentioned Kemba as including him in that first tier. The Anthony Davis thing, I think, is ideal.
Absolutely.
And I think Anthony Davis, the age profile also fits perfectly because LeBron, I agree with you. I still think LeBron's the best player in the league, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold on to that title. And Anthony Davis is 8 years younger than LeBron. Absolutely. And so having a guy that can age into, if he's not the best player in the league, he's already a top 6 player in the league.
Right.
That works well for the Lakers. I do think there is real concern with the Pelicans, even if the Lakers can make the best offer, the Pelicans having a bleep you factor, saying no. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing business with you because of how this all went down.
Pelicans made it real interesting right now because now we look at New York. Right? And if New York gets the number 1 pick, let's say they get the number 2 pick, now you're looking at Kevin Knox, you're looking at Dennis Smith Jr., and that 1 or 2 pick.
Right.
They have an interesting package coming forth. But that 5th person, Jimmy Butler, he's the yin to LeBron James's yang. He is the different type of leadership that could work well with LeBron because, number one, what Jimmy Butler would do is play hard on a nightly basis. He's going to defend. He's going to make big shots, and he holds his teammates accountable. The stuff that LeBron James doesn't do well. So I think that is a possibility.
So you would include, because I think Jimmy Butler would be disappointing for the Lakers. You think it would fit well?
I don't, because he guards, number one, defensively. He would hold that team to a defensive standard that I don't think anybody else in that pack, or Kawhi, but he's not as outspoken as Jimmy, and Jimmy could lead that young group of talent on the defensive side and hold LeBron accountable.
Out of all the players you mentioned, you threw Kawhi in there at the end, and because of your experience
in the middle.
No, okay, I got you, but I'm just saying, as far as the conversation you just threw him in, do you think, based on being familiar with LeBron and how styles make fights in boxing, that Kawhi's personality is maybe not the best fit with who LeBron is and being there with the Lakers?
I just think his talent is just so amazing that he could make it work. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. He defends at a high level, and he can do a lot of things on the offensive side. You can, for him not being outspoken, LeBron's leadership style, but you're gonna have to just do it differently with Kawhi. But he has to be in that conversation because him and KD are the two biggest talents, but Kyrie has the established relationship. You know how that works. You know how effective they can be. So you have options out there in free agency. It's not just a one or two guy miss like Paul George last year. You can build a roster to be in the hunt for a championship.
In your opinion, if you had to pick one of those guys that ends up with LeBron next year, who do you think it would be?
I want to say Kyrie.
Oh.
Something about me wants to say that they can put it together again and bring the band back together again and try and do something out there in LA with the media attention out there in LA, with just the ability to them to have a different type of relationship and and they have the track record. You can convince him because you know what, we did it one time. You were hurt for the first time. So I think we can get this thing done.
Okay.
Great little chapter to that soap opera.
I like it, man. Thank you.
Dante, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate it.
We got to get you back on the show.
Or leave your clone, one of the two. Did the drama in Pittsburgh leave with AB? That's next on First Things First. Just because
Man, that cologne he got on.